Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Hi, I am Ayaz Memon and I am here to preview the World Test Championship final between India and New Zealand, which starts today. It's been called an iconic test match. Some have even said this is the greatest ever test match that has been played. We'll have to wait and see how the match pans out. But certainly, it's a landmark moment in the sport. Now, it's been a 2-year cycle to determine the finalists. The World Test Championship came into play shortly after the World Cup in 2019, and the passage has been hit by the pandemic. So it's been a convoluted passage that teams have had to take. Earlier, it was decided that each test-playing country would have 6 shots or 6 series to qualify, and then they had to revise the rules, they had to tweak it, they made percentage points, etc., etc. So after all that, it's been a kind of tortuous journey for both teams. Now these two teams are in the final. It's the culmination of what I think is a fantastic idea. It's not that multi-team events, test events, this is the first time. In 1912, Australia, England and South Africa played a triangular series which was won by England. In 1999, there was the Asian Test Championship, which involved India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. But not over a 2-year period, 2-year cycle, home and away situations, etc., etc., which gives this current match obviously a lot more heft and a lot more meaning. Now, just to tell you a backgrounder to this. The final was to be played at Lord's. Because of the pandemic situation in London, it's been shifted to Southampton at the Rose Bowl. The prize money for this match is $1.6 million to the winning team, $800,000 to the losing team or the runner-up team, and that's a lot of money. But more than that is the prestige for both teams, and certainly for India. I mean, India is a cricket-mad country. 1.3 billion people follow the sport, and remember, for Virat Kohli, he hasn't got an ICC trophy on his mantelpiece or in his cupboard where he stores all the titles and cups and awards that he's won. Neither has Kane Williamson. Kane Williamson came extremely close to winning an ICC tournament when England and New Zealand clashed in the 2019 World Cup, lost by a whisker. So he'll be eager to get his hands on that trophy. So will Virat Kohli. And then there is, of course, this very delightful connection between these two players. They are as different or as similar as chalk and cheese, if you want. But both of them in 2008 played in the Under-19 World Cup, and both were then seen as stars of the future. And here you are, both of them have kind of lived up to their potential as players. Virat Kohli, arguably the best batsman in the world, and Kane Williamson rivaling him for that accolade. Of course, there are others, Steve Smith and Joe Root, also in that awesome quartet that has been formed. But these two guys, they go back a long way. As I mentioned, like chalk and cheese. Virat Kohli, mercurial, in your face, overt aggression. Williamson, very calm, very composed, very measured, and they've had successes in their distinctive ways. I don't think they'll change for this match, but it'll be an interesting study in contrast when they take the field. Now, what the build up to this match has been a little subdued in my opinion, because the rival is New Zealand for India. Suppose it was India versus Australia or India versus England, there would have been brouhaha and hullabaloo, which would have kind of broken all decibel levels. New Zealand understated, under the radar for the most part in the cricket world. Remember, it's a country of only 5 million people. The annual turnover of New Zealand cricket is $35 million, which is just a little more perhaps than an IPL franchise team. So that's how stark the differences between New Zealand and India in terms of their cricketing ecosystem, if I may call it. That's where they come from. But let's look at the teams. That's where the comparison starts getting, it becomes more meaningful in the context of this match, and also it helps us understand where New Zealand have become why they are in the final. They had a bit of a luck in that Australia withdrew from a tour of South Africa earlier this year, which gave New Zealand the chance to squeak in into the final. Because otherwise they could have, if Australia had won convincingly, Australia may have been in the final. But let's not forget that New Zealand have won their last 4 series out of 5, and that includes the 2-0 victory over India at home. They've beaten England currently in the 2-test series, so at Lords. So they are well prepared in that sense. India have also lost only 1 series in this cycle of the WTC, the 2-year cycle, which is to New Zealand. But the last 15 days, they've been pretty much cooling their heels in the Southampton biosecure bubble, hoping things will improve. They've had some intra-team matches, not the same thing as preparing competitively for a final. So there is a little difference. I think that one must keep that in mind. But also, it must also be kept in mind that India beat Australia with a rag and bobtail team. Bunch of newcomers showed character and mettle and courage and determination, and obviously a lot of skills to beat Australia in Australia. And then they walloped England 3-1. So it's not that India are coming on the back of no achievement. They are coming on the back of massive achievement, which is why this contest becomes so exciting. So I'm already drooling. Let's look at the players. As I mentioned, India, huge country, 1.3 billion people. New Zealand, 5 million people. Understated, under radar. The superstars all are from India, barring Kane Williamson, Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Cheteshwar Pujara, Rishabh Pant, Ajinkya Rahane, young Shubman Gill, etc., etc. Where do you find, these kind of stars in the New Zealand team? But let's look at some other way of comparing them. Kane Williamson and Virat Kohli, both of them with 7,000 plus runs, 50 plus average. Ross Taylor, 7,000 plus runs in Test cricket, middling average of 40 plus. Tom Latham, 4,000 runs, 40 plus average. Henry Nicholls, 2,000 plus runs, young player, 40 plus average. And therefore, when you compare it with India, apart from Kohli, there's Rohit Sharma, Pujara, Ajinkya Rahane, all averaging in the 40s. So it's not that New Zealand, as was thought, is too far behind in terms of batting talent. It's not vulnerable. When it comes to bowling, a lot of people forget India's pace bowling attack is fabulous. Ishant Sharma, Mohammad Shami, Jasprit Bumrah. We've had to leave out Mohammad Siraj. But New Zealand, Tim Southee, Trent Bolt, Neil Wagner have more than 800 wickets to their credit. So it's not an attack that can be sniffed at. It's a very strong bowling attack. The only weakness they have is in the spinners, and which is where I think India has the advantage. R. Ashwin, Ravindra Jadeja, not only are they top class spinners with 600 plus wickets between them, but they also bat well, which is why both of them have been included. And to strengthen the batting, if you include 4 fast bowlers, if Siraj had been included, it would have weakened the batting. If you include an extra batsman, Hanuma Vihari, and reduce a bowler, it weakens the bowling. So I think the selectors have done well. The crucial aspect here will be, of course, how Rishabh Pant, in my opinion, keeps wickets and the slip cordon takes catches. Finally, what will influence the matches? Mental strength, skills, obviously. The weather. The weather isn't very promising in Southampton. There's forecast of rain, intermittent rain on the first 3 days certainly. This match is of 6 days duration. The 6th day has been added just in case there is loss of play on the earlier 5 days. So those overs can be added into the 6th day. Mind you, if there is no stoppage for rain on all 5 days, and if the match is drawn, the title is shared. It's only if there's rain stoppage will the 6th day come into play. It's a fabulous setting. Hopefully the weather will stay away. I think this is a contest that to me it seems very riveting. I just wanted to add this bit here that New Zealand have actually, after beating England, toppled India as the number 1 ranked ICC team. So there's a lot for Indian cricket to aspire to and play for, and also for New Zealand cricket. So it's difficult to pick a winner. I'll say that both teams have a very good chance, and in the true fashion of a impartial cricket lover, I'd say let the best team win. See you again tomorrow. I'll come back every day for the day's update and looking ahead to the next day's play.